I've got my glamorous assistant here with me.
James McDonald.
Oh, you all right?
Good morning, James. Welcome to Timber Talks, episode 6. Harry, welcome. Can you tell us what's going on today?
Yeah, so I'm out here on a harvesting site near our sawmill at Dalbeattie in southwest Scotland in Galloway, at Dumfries in Galloway. We've got a harvester working on a 30,000 ton clear fell behind us with a really decent tree size. So when I say that, the trees are very big here relative to what we're buying normally. So each tree is over a ton in volume, and the harvester's working away cutting saw logs and other bits and pieces for various other markets. But what we're interested in the business is the saw logs for our sawmill locally.
Wow, so proper homegrown timber there. Lovely.
Yes, so these saw logs are going to go into construction timber. So the vast majority of it will end up as things like, 4x2 joists, things like that for roofing, timber framing, and then some of the other products that will come out will be pallet wood for moving goods around, and perhaps fencing in people's gardens.
So is this a public access forest, Harry?
Yes, yeah. So this is part of Forestry Land Scotland, which is the state body in Scotland. So this forest is owned by the state, and it's part of their estate that they have across Scotland. It's a similar organisation to Forestry Commission in England, for example.
Right. So even with the public access, harvesting can happen, productive harvesting can happen on one side, whilst people can enjoy the forest on the other side.
Yeah, and we obviously have to be very careful around the health and safety management of the site. So we do temporarily exclude people from the immediate area of the harvesting site. But this forest is many thousands of hectares, so there's plenty of other bits of the forest. But I mean, I think here people would use this for mountain biking and walking.
Can you tell us about the local benefits of having a productive forest here on a open access site, for example?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is this is providing multiple benefits to society here. So we're creating wealth. So we've got a sawmill down the road that employs many hundreds of people. We've got a supply chain. So we've got a guy sat on the harvester there cutting the trees down. We've got forest managers keeping an eye on the process and then coming in afterwards and restocking it. And we've got a parcel of timber or a crop of timber here that's fixing carbon. And this will be fixing carbon at something like 20 tons per hectare per year at the moment, or that will be the rate at which the trees are growing. And then with a whole range of benefits to wildlife and things like that. And as we drove in, we came across the sparrowhawk, which flew out in front of us, and we saw some hares as well as we came through. So a forest that's providing many societal benefits as well as wealth to society, financial wealth.
Wonderful. So what are the species we have here on this site?
So this is a parcel here that was planted about 45 years ago, and it's Sitka spruce, which is one of the main forest species that we grow here. It thrives in what are these really quite poor soil conditions. There's not many other species that would grow here, which is where we would perhaps struggle to grow many other species. As we came in, we saw some stands of red cedar, some Norway spruce, and around the edges we've got broadleaf and open alder as well. There is larch in this forest as well.
Lovely. Some people say we should only ever plant broadleaves. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a cliche. We talk about the right tree in the right place. If we want to grow timber that's going to be usable, that's going to have an end use ultimately, where we can build buildings out of it or use it for pallets as we described earlier, then we're not going to do that by growing broadleaves here. Broadleaves will really struggle here and we'll only ever end up with a scrub woodland. So it's appropriate within the forest, and as part of the guidelines around the way we manage forests in this country, we'll replant an element of broadleaves within it, but we wouldn't generate that employment that we described earlier if we just grew broadleaves here. And indeed, many people would argue we'd fix much more carbon here as well, because these conifers will probably grow somewhere in the region of 3 to 4 times the speed that broadleaves would grow. So the right tree in the right place.
Amazing. Thank you very much.